Hi, I'm Jennifer Jerrett with Community Living in Huntsville, and I'm sitting here today with Suzanne Willett, our Executive Director. Suzanne, I'd like to talk to you today about food insecurity in our community. Specifically, I'd really like to know where you get your information.
Absolutely. I've talked to people that access our services, I've talked to employees, and sometimes people who access our services just aren't comfortable sitting in this chair answering the question. So I'm here to advocate on their behalf.
What have you and community living employees seen and heard when it comes to food insecurity?
I just want to make it perfectly clear that not everybody with a developmental disability, not everybody that we support is food insecure.
Right.
But many of them are. And this isn't new. This is long-standing before the rise of rent, the rise of, transportation, food prices started skyrocketing in the last couple of years. So this isn't new.
No, and this is pre-COVID.
This is absolutely pre-COVID.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just a growing problem that continues to compound year over year. How are people coping with food insecurity in our community?
In the general population, most people will budget for food. They'll make a list, they'll shop the deals. People that we support don't have that option. They have to sacrifice. Think about it. More than what they should be paying, they're paying in rent, and then they got to think about utilities. They have to think about potentially cell phone, internet, and food has to fit in there somewhere as well. So a lot of people we support access food charities. Food charity is not the solution. I would hazard a guess that even the food charities themselves would say this is not a solution. As a community, we need to advocate for those long-term solutions.
But I would also venture to guess that people, even if they do make a budget and they try to work from that budget, that's stopping them from actually being in the community because they don't have enough money left over to be in community, to go to the theater, to go to a restaurant with a friend, to go out to socialize. So at the end of the day, that is having a huge negative effect on people we support as well.
Absolutely. I've heard stories of, one young man who he's very social, would love to, take his friends out for a dinner, but can't afford it, right? This is social isolation, and people with a developmental disability are really facing isolation, and this is just another example of how that isolation is felt by them.
Right. So we also serve families who have children with a delay or a disability. What are we hearing from them?
Again, I want to stress that not every family that we support is in crisis,
right.
but many of them are. There's this complex web of food charities that our employees are amazing at helping families kind of string together. There's breakfast programs, lunch programs, right. There's the food bank, and there's also seasonal food hampers. And
I can't imagine that would be an easy task to do when you have children with a delay or developmental disability. If you're even, if you're trying to work, trying to access those services.
Layer on that, potentially family violence, layer on that not being able to make your rent and facing eviction. There's so much to consider. When you're in a crisis, you're going like day to day, hour to hour, and now you're having to worry about everything.
What are some of the solutions you're hearing from staff and families supported through Community Living Huntsville?
Well, it's really interesting. The first thing that's coming to everyone's mind is to increase food charities. So increasing the hours of the food bank, more days, more food selections, culturally significant food selections. But when you really think about that, is that the right thing to do? When you really dive into it, what's needed is more money. What's needed is affordable housing, free or low-cost transportation, and affordable food. We need to look at the government. The government needs to take a look at this. They need to end legislative poverty. They need to take a look at ODSP, again, affordable housing.
I found it really interesting that our staff and families went to a short-term solution first rather than a broader long-term solution maybe at the government level.
There's so many people that we support that are in crisis. That's this narrow focus, right? crisis, how can we support them this week to get food? How can we support them next week to get food? As opposed to the longer term solution is, what we need to focus on.
What could we as an organization ask the community to do?
Right now, if you go to our website, there's a letter that you can take a look at. You can send that directly to, local, provincial, federal government. You could even use it as a starting point for your own letter. As a community, we need to demand change.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.